gonna give you guys some revs here in the tunnel while there's no one behind me. What's up everybody, this is Eric with SoCal Exotics. Today I'm going to be doing a POV review on this 2022 Ferrari F8 Tributo. Now this comes on from a long line of Ferrari V8 mid-engine cars like the 360, the 355, the F430, the 458 Italia, and then obviously the F8 here. Now this one's got a 3.9 liter V8 twin turbo, and this is actually going to be the last of the V8s that we see in this line of V8 cars that are mid-engine. Ferrari is now converting the new car, the 296, to a V6, and it also has a hybrid twin turbo system. So this Tributo really is a final tribute to these V8 mid-engine cars. Guys, today's video wouldn't even be possible without Supercar Experience. They have multiple locations, one here in LA, one in Vegas, one in Arizona, and one in Boise. Everyone should try it once in their life at least. I mean, you always see videos on YouTube and on Instagram. Come live it in person. Start with either this 750, this F8 that we're about to review, or this Urus for comfortability. They got a little bit of everything, so take your pick. Supercar Experience. Again, this is the last 3.9 liter twin turbo V8 that was formerly in the 488 Pista. Revs up to 8,000 RPM and it's about 710 horsepower, 570 foot-pounds of torque. It's got pretty much the same block and major architecture as the 488s and the 488 Pistas. Same 7-speed dual clutch transmission and rear-wheel drive setup. And again, the V8 is mid-engine, so it really helps the weight being in the back with traction and cornering. 211 is the top speed, and 0 to 60 is about 2.9 seconds. So this thing is extremely quick. The base weight with fluids is 3,164 pounds. It's about 1,435 kilograms. And yeah, the base price on this car is about $275K. With options used right now, they're going for about $300, $330. So it's really a beautiful design. We can get into the aerodynamics and exterior a little bit. On the front here, you have an S-duct that helps with downforce. This is the bottom end of it. You can see that. So it goes all the way through and then as well all the way to the bottom. So you get a lot of extra downforce with that over there. And it also looks extremely aggressive. On the sides here, you get these intakes. On the old 458s, they used to feed to the intake. And now with these turbocharged cars, they go into the intercooler. So you got that on both sides. And on the bottom diffuser here, there's actually some active aero that prevents this car from needing a bigger spoiler. So you have the fixed low spoiler that also has ducts there, so you can have extra downforce here to the rear. I absolutely love what they did with the design here on the engine cover. It reminds me of an F40 the way they did this. And another thing that's kind of a throwback are the quad tail lights. So you get two on both sides, bringing that back from the old 355. So I talked a little bit about these air ducts here that go into the intercoolers. Let me open this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. These feed the intercoolers for the turbo, and you can kind of see where they do that. And actually on the top here, a section of it feeds into the engine. So you get not only the cooling for the turbos, the intercooler, you also get for the engine. So dual purpose, and they look very cool. A lot of these have the carbon fiber on the sides here. This one does not, but still a very highly optioned car. This one also has carbon ceramic brakes. So very bitey and, you know, perfect for a car like this in the canyons. Let's get in this thing. I can show you the interior. Now, right from the get-go, the steering wheel I absolutely love. I'm very picky with steering wheels. The shape of it is really nice. You get the LEDs on the top here that kind of tell you when to shift, the blue lights at the end. And I just love that everything's right here. You get these indicator buttons to tell you when you want to go left and right. I absolutely love that about these Ferrari steering wheels, engine start stop, and the different race modes here, which we'll get into. But I love this center console here, all carbon fiber. You got the launch button, automatic button, and your reverse gear here. Windows over here. If you guys could see that here, there's a spot for your key, and there's also a cup holder. You also get a glove box. So pretty cool, love that. And a screen for your passenger to see things like the miles per hour, G-force, stuff like that. But I also absolutely love these seats. I mean, these seats are very comfortable. I've been in the car all day. I believe they're the bucket seats. One of the things I really love about this car is that they kept the tachometer and rev counter completely analog. A lot of new cars like the 992 GT3, they're changing to that digital display. So kudos to Ferrari for keeping that. And yeah, the interior is very similar to the 488, but it's still very comfortable, very nice, roomy place to be. This is the key for the F8. It's very similar to the 812. Let's go ahead and turn it on so you guys can hear it. Alrighty, so foot on the brake and guys, so now that we're in the car, let's go over the different driving modes. I'm gonna put it in a wet mode. That is comfort mode essentially. It quiets up the exhaust. It's the quietest setup for the exhaust. You get a very low throttle response, and the dampening on the suspension takes the bumps a lot better. And then in sport mode, it stiffens up the suspension a little bit, increases the throttle response, and it opens up the exhaust quite a bit, lot more. So you actually start hearing the exhaust. In race mode, you get these insane shifts. It's very quick, and the throttle response is very, very light. So it's very aggressive throttle response. So let's actually go through some gears here in race mode. And like I said, those shifts are instantaneous. And it kicks you in the back of the head. Sport mode doesn't hit you in the back of the head like race does. It's just a really different experience. If you're gonna be driving this car in the canyons and as hard as you can, I'd probably be putting it in race mode. Even though you do get a little bit more slippage, it gives you a little bit less traction in race mode. And also you can fully turn off traction control and stability, but we're definitely not going to be doing that today. I want all the traction and stability that I can when I have this thing in the canyon. So we're in race mode right now. You get those crisp downshifts very fast and those absolutely immediate upshifts. Wow, this thing is extremely fast. The 0 to 60 in this car is 2.9 seconds. The 30 to 65 is 1 second. That's just insane numbers. Apparently, this car goes 0 to 125 miles an hour in 7.3 to 7.4 seconds. That is insane acceleration. And another thing, for being a turbocharged car, I don't really feel any turbo lag whatsoever. This thing accelerates like it's naturally aspirated. Let's get a clip of how this thing sounds. Now, that's not the best sounding supercar. Obviously, we have a turbocharged V8 here, but that definitely sounds better than the clips I've heard of the 296, in my opinion. I think with an exhaust and a tune, this thing really has a chance to really sound a lot better. Here we go, there's another tunnel. I'm gonna give you guys some revs here in the tunnel while there's no one behind me. Not bad for fully stock, I must say. And you definitely get a lot more noise here in the cockpit, especially with the windows up. One more tunnel here for you guys. Give it a downshift and a pull. Let's get a little bit into the handling of this car, how this car feels when you're taking it into corners. So this has Ferrari's signature sharpness written all over it. You could just throw this car into any corner and it feels like it wants to keep going. It wants you to push it to the next level. It reminds me very subtly of the 430 Scuderia that I drove quite a long time ago, times 100. This is way more revised, obviously way more modern. We have 20 years of better technology and better suspension here, but the way this car just sharpens into the turns, it gives you absolute confidence. I mean, you can hit the apex and it just feels like it wants more and more, and then right when you're done with the turn, you have all that torque to get you into the straightaways. I mean, this car is so well balanced, a little bit of oversteer, but definitely very sharp and very agile. This is probably one of the best handling, if not the best handling car that I've driven so far. It makes me think a lot about putting this up against like a 911 GT3. Now, I've driven something quite as fast, the F12 that I drove. Because of the mid-engine setup in this thing, I feel like it puts the power down a lot better. There's a lot more weight in the back to keep the traction and downforce as high as possible when you're accelerating. So it's not necessarily as scary as the F12, but it does have that power like the F12 has. And at times, honestly, it does scare me to put the throttle all the way to the floor. I mean, if you go full throttle on this thing, you better start switching gears very fast because it just adds up. We're in 5th right now, and look how it just spools up. I do think this handles better than an F12. It's overall way more balanced and it puts the power down to the ground a lot better. I'm a lot more confident in this car than I was when I drove the F12. And what's funny is both cars, this one doesn't have the best tires on it right now, and neither does the F12 that I drove back in the day. But yeah, this puts it down quite well. So comparing this car to its predecessor, it's about 50 more horsepower than the 488, and it feels a lot sharper. Now, I haven't driven a 488, but I've been in a Pista and the normal 488 for quite some time in the passenger seat in the canyons, and let me tell you, this is definitely as sharp as the Pista. That's how it feels. I like this more than a 488. It looks way better in my opinion. I think the 488 has styling from the 458. If you look at the 458, the 488, and the F8 just looks completely different as opposed to the 458 and the 488 kind of looking the same. The 488 kind of looks a little revised. Now, talking about the 296, the successor of this car, the newer version, that car now comes with a V6 hybrid battery twin turbo engine. So we really are in the last V8 Ferrari. Even though it is twin turbo, it's the last V8 that we're gonna see in the mid-engine V8 line. I would say for the price, for how it feels overall, this is probably the one to get if you're after a twin turbo newer Ferrari. You get all the technology, all the creature comforts, but you still get a V8. You get 710 horsepower, that's extremely fast, and it looks beautiful. I think this personally looks better than the 296. And this is the last car that's gonna come without a battery. So my conclusion on this car is, I'm gonna give it a rating of about 7.7, okay? That's because it really blew me away. The performance, the handling is way better than I thought it was gonna be. It really blew me away in that aspect, how it feels driving this car in the canyons, how sleek it is, how aggressive, how sharp it is. And yeah, it looks way better than I thought it did. I never really looked at them as in detail until you have the car in person and have full control over it. So yeah, guys, this car blew me away. I think it's a great daily. I think it's probably the best newer Ferrari out in a long time. And yeah, I highly recommend this over the 488 and the 296. I just wanted to say thank you so much again to Supercar Experience for giving us the F8 to review. We're gonna be doing a lot more reviews of their other cars in the future, so stay tuned for that. Guys, let me know what car you want me to review next. Let me know what car you want me to film next. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'm doing this all for you guys. I want you guys to be here with me through all these experiences and feel these cars, you know, firsthand how I'm feeling them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Shoot me a subscribe if you guys haven't already, and have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.